Good morning, everybody. I just got Dakota on the bus, and I got about 30 minutes to kind of just sit here and relax on the couch until I have to wake Xavier up to get ready for him to go to school. So we posted the first video about the sleep study for Xavier, and just wanted to give you a little background about his story and our life with epilepsy. He is almost 11. Actually, he'll be 11 this weekend. And he was born in 2005, and he was okay. He didn't have epilepsy. He was just a normal kid. So Dakota and him both started school the same year, 2009. And we were living in Tennessee at the time. So Dakota was in kindergarten and he was in pre-K. About a month into the school year, which they started in August, like the last day of July something, 31st or something like that. So I just say August. They started in August of 2009, and about a month into school, I was giving him a bath after school that night, and he told me that he felt like he was turning into a monster. And I didn't really know what he was talking about. I was like, what do you mean? And he kind of said something about his left arm or whatever. It feels like it's turning into a monster inside of him. And so I didn't really know what he was talking about. I hadn't seen anything going on with his left arm or anything. And so, he got out of the tub, he got in his pajamas, and that was it. So probably like the next night, might have been a couple days later or something, but same thing. We were in the tub and I was washing him up. And he made the comment again about he felt like he was going to turn into a monster. And I was actually washing his body, washing his left arm at that time. And I kind of lifted it up to wash underneath in his underarm area. And when I did that, his left arm kind of did this vibrational shaky thing, and I didn't know what it was. He didn't know what it was, so it was really weird, and kind of scary because I didn't really know what it was. So we got out, washed up. Maybe about a week later, he did it again. And so made an appointment with his pediatrician, took him in as soon as they could get us. It was like maybe the next day or maybe 2 days later, and was telling the pediatrician about the situation and what had happened. And he was kind of stumped. And then we went over to leave, and we washed up at the sink in the physical room or the doctor room or whatever, the patient rooms that you go into. So when we did that, his arm did it. So the doctor was able to actually see what was happening, and he didn't say anything about like it might be seizures or anything like that. He just kind of recommended that we have an EEG done. And so I was like, okay, well, that's cool. And I know it was something about the referral that, I don't know, it was going to be like a month or two out before they could get us in for the EEG. So we were just kind of hanging in suspense, wondering what was going on with our son. And in the interim, in the meantime, he had to still go to school. So as the month progressed, it's probably like maybe almost the end of September at this time. And as the month progressed, and we go into October, he started having these things go on at school. And the pre-K teacher a couple of times said that, he went to the water fountain to get a drink of water one time, and he kind of fell off the stool. He was kind of getting embarrassed about this happening to him at school, in front of his friends, and being the first year that he was in school. So he was getting a little self-conscious about it and didn't really understand what was going on with him. I didn't understand what was going on with him. It was still happening, like sometimes when I would wash him up in the tub, sometimes it didn't. And so I didn't really know what it was. Was it a nervous tic? Was it something with his nerves? Like, we didn't know. And it was only in his right arm. His right arm would do this vibrational shaky thing. And so we're going into maybe the middle of October now. We haven't had the EEG, and I just kind of felt like the pediatrician really couldn't help us. And I was talking to his preschool teacher about the situation and just telling her, like, at that time we didn't have good insurance, and I didn't really know what to do as a parent. I didn't really know, should I try to find a specialist? I didn't know what kind of specialist to find. And then, with not having good insurance, I didn't know how much the bill was going to be. I didn't know anything. So she had made mention that her father was a retired doctor, and that she had told him about his symptoms. And he kind of had made mention that possibly they were seizures from what she had told him that she had seen at school. And so, just the mention of the word seizures is something that, you can't even imagine. I told Alan I was going to do this. Yeah. So, just the mention of the word seizures in your child is something that, excuse me, y'all. Okay. Get it together. It's something that is very scary. So, she had kind of mentioned that maybe we should take him to the Children's Hospital. And in Nashville, Vanderbilt Children's Hospital it's a wonderful hospital. It's a great hospital. So, when she said that, I was like, well, wow, thinking of the cost, thinking of, what will they do, and, stuff like that. And so she just kind of had made mention that, if he had some at home one night, that we should just go to their emergency room. That, there would be no cost up front. They would just have to see him, and then at least that would get him in the door, since he hadn't had the EEG yet, and we were still waiting on a date for that. So it was the end of October, and we were at home having dinner, and Xavier started having the fits or the vibrations, except they had progressed to where he would kind of get very stiff, and he would just kind of shake. He had labored breathing, and it was really, really scary for him, for us. And so he had a few back to back that night after dinner, and we just decided that we were going to take her advice and go to the emergency room at Vanderbilt Children's Hospital. So we did that. He had a few. We packed up, a little bit of stuff. Got coats, and we got in the car and we rode to Nashville. And we got into the waiting room, signed him in. I want to say we maybe waited 30 minutes, maybe not even that. But we got back into a patient room, and we were waiting for the doctor to come in. And so he had a few before the doctor came in, and I was just kind of praying that, he would have one when the doctor came in so that the doctor could actually see it. I felt like if the doctor could see it, we would be okay. Like, he would just diagnose it, and we would get some medicine, and we would go home, and that would be it. Because, we didn't know what they were. So, doctor came in and talked to us, and we told him about the situation, explained it. It kind of gave him looked him over, talked to him about it, and, he just said he felt like he was turning into a monster. So, the doctor was almost done with our visit, and I was just like going, please have one. And Xavier had one. He had a seizure, which we know now was a seizure. So he had one, and the doctor was like, yeah, I think it's seizures. We're going to admit him. And, it was kind of like relief, but it was kind of like your heart sinks. It just, I don't know, your heart sinks when they say they're admitting your child. And, it was just kind of like a whirlwind after that. We got admitted really fast. They got us up into a room. They did some tests for like the flu virus, and I don't even know what else. They did a lot of tests. So it was Halloween weekend. It was like that night. I want to say it was that night, Halloween night, that when we went up there. But they admitted him. We got up to a room. They started testing like right away. Blood samples, urine samples. We even had to do a spinal tap, which was very, very scary. And it all was happening very, very fast that night rather. Just, like I said, it was just a whirlwind, really, really fast. So they did all of those tests that night, and then the next day is when they did like an MRI. They did an EEG. They monitored them on the EEG for like maybe 2 or 3 days. They did the MRI, and we were there for 5 days. 5 days in the hospital. I stayed with them the whole time, and Alan and Dakota, they went home Um, well, he went home to get me some clothes and get some things from the house, and then he dropped Dakota off with his mom because we couldn't have her staying up there with us. They only said that the two parents could stay. So he did that like the next day after we were admitted. He took her to his mom's, and then yeah, we were just in the hospital. Something that you never wish on anybody, but it happened, and we were there. I didn't want to leave his side. Of course, I left like one time just to kind of take a break, from the stress of it all, the worry and the unknown. Unknown, I think, is so much more worse than even knowing. Because at least when you know, then you get information on what to do. If they say you have strep throat, you need to take this medicine. You have whatever, you need to take this, or you need to do this and whatever. So the unknown for the 5 days in the hospital was very, very mind taxing. You thinking over everything, like, what is it? What's going to happen to my son? What's going to happen to my child? So I think I took a break like one day and went and walked around the hospital, which had lots of beautiful stuff. I took a lot of pictures, just for our memories, of course, for the scrapbook. So yeah, the last day, the day before last, the fourth day is when the doctor told us that, he had seizures and that he had complex partial seizures. So those words don't even register in your mind what they are. You just go, okay, how do we fix them? That's what Alan and myself, I just want to know, how can we fix my kid? But there was a lot of, when they released us the next day on the fifth day, they gave us information about it. They gave me 2 medicines to start him on. We had appointments set up to come back. Like maybe 4 weeks later, we had to go back and see the neurologist at the Children's Hospital. Medicine, instructions. They gave us a little bit of information on it, and that was it. We went home, and our kid had epilepsy. Our kid had seizures. There was no rhyme or reason to why he had it. He hadn't had any, like major trauma. He hadn't had any like illnesses, high fevers. Yeah, it was just no rhyme or reason to why my son had seizures. Why him? Why anybody? But when it's your child, it's why my kid. So that ensued I don't know what you want to call it, the researcher in me. But, I started to find all kind of information on it, and looked up the medicines that he had to take and side effects and all that stuff like that. And one of the medicines that he was on to start with was Trileptal. The other one was Keppra, and Keppra is known for causing violence, I guess, aggression in children. So, I was watching him for that. And he did actually start exhibiting more aggression towards his classmates. So we took him off of that one after about maybe only a few months, maybe like 6 months later. They took him off of that one. But the medicines, they helped. They got them, for the most part, controlled. He was still having some during the day, and he still had a lot at night. And so after that, it was just back and forth to the neurologist. Seemed like we were in there every week, but it was probably like every 2 months. At first, we had to go back and forth, just to increase dosages of medicine, kind of see how he was doing with them, and then what was the plan going forward. So during that time, I asked a lot of questions, some which were answered to my satisfaction, some that were not, like why did he have them? I still wanted to know why he had them. I still want to know why he has them, but from all the information that they've told us, there's a lot of kids that, it just pops up, basically. That's the only way I know how to put it. It just happens. Some happen at birth, some happen 6 months after they're born, when they're 1, when they're 3, My son was 4, and that's when it started. He had no signs of it before. So, they didn't really have an answer. They said that sometimes kids that get them young do grow out of them later. At this point, he's about to turn 11, and he still has them. For the most part, his seizures are controlled. He is on 3 separate medicines. He's still on the trileptal. Then they added a capsule called zonisamide and a third liquid called Onfi. And he is on those 3. He doesn't have any seizures during the daytime, but he still has uncontrolled night seizures. And he doesn't have seizures every night. At this point, he's down to about maybe once per week. But the neurologist that we have here at Helen DeVos Children's Hospital is wonderful. And she's very proactive in trying to get these under control. So that's what we're trying to do right now. They're still trying to get them under control. We just started this third medicine about 2 months ago. So I actually have to call her next week and update her on how he's doing on it and go from there. They may bump it up, increase the dosage. So we'll kind of see if that helps. And the last appointment we had, she told me that there's, I think, only one more medicine that we can try. So I'm hoping that this third one that he's on right now will help. And it does seem like it's helping at night more. Like I said, it's maybe once a week, but even when we were just in the hospital on Sunday night, he didn't have any that night, which was very good because I know his body was tired, and being tired is one of his triggers. Usually when he's overly tired, he'll have them more than when he's well rested. So he didn't have any, and I was glad about that. But yeah, that's where we're at today. yeah, that's it. I mean, I just wanted to come back and tell you all about something else. I had to get his Xavier up and get him off to school. So that's our epilepsy story, and we are just continuing the story. I just wanted to thank you all for watching our videos and rocking out with us while we go on this journey called life. I am going to share a poem that I wrote about the beginning stages of when we found out about his epilepsy and stuff like that. Poetry has always been a creative outlet for me. I've been writing since I was about 8, and it's always been a place that I felt safe to tell my truths. So yeah, it was only natural for me to write about this as part of my life. So it's called Purple Monsters, and it's called that because purple is the ribbon color for awareness for epilepsy, and monsters, of course, is based on when Xavier first started having him, how he said he felt like he had a monster inside of him. So I'm going to share that on my blog, and we'll give you the link to that in the description box below. And I think Alan is going to put it on here on this video too, but just in case you can't read it good, I'm going to share it on my blog so that you can read it. So yeah, that's it. Thank y'all for listening to this story. I know this is one of our longer videos, but I just felt like telling the whole story would maybe help somebody else, or just let you know that you're not alone going through this with your family. So yeah, if you got any questions or comments, we love to hear them, and thank y'all. So I'm about to get some cleaning done, and Alan probably will upload this later this evening when he gets home from work. So thank y'all. I'm out. I'll holler at y'all later. Peace.
What's up, YouTubers? I hope you like this video. If you did, hit that subscribe button. You know that red button to say subscribe? Go on and click it right there. If you got any comments, put them down below so we can check them out. You got any topics that you may think you want us to talk about? Put them in the comments below. Like I said, we gonna do this every day, all day. And it's not script. We just hit the record button, let it fly. So if you like us, like it. If you don't like it, still share it, because some of your friends might. Like I said, hit that subscribe button and check out daily for different videos, and check out my beats. Holla at me.